Hello and welcome back to Powerful Perspectives. And this is the second quote of the foundational quote series of 5 quotes to underpin your life. And this is a quote from Carl Jung, the famous 20th century psychoanalyst, and it is, "You are what you do, not what you say you do." And it's quite a simple quote, quite self-evident, cuts through all the waffle, and it essentially speaks to the idea of if your words are underpinned by action and not backed up by that action, they're baseless. You can only identify with the action itself. You can't identify with the words around it. It holds you to that action. It's essentially, do you back your chat? If you say something, do you live it? Right? Because we all have dreams, we all have aspirations, but are we making things happen? And I think it's a really powerful idea. And if you don't, this inaction defines you much more than your proclaimed words. And that's quite an uneasy idea, that you're defined much more by your inaction rather than your pledges. Yet, if these pledges underpinned by action are not supported by that action, then it follows. And I think this punchiness and this clarity is really helpful to me, especially when I'm in a rut and I'm struggling, or I'm second guessing, or I'm overthinking, to come back to the idea of, look, am I doing what I say? And most of the time, I won't be, or I won't be fulfilling what I'm supposed to be fulfilling, or what I want to be fulfilling. And it reminds me that action times clarity is what leads to success, right? And a lot of times people overthink the clarity and don't want to take the action. And the action is difficult, right? But if we make pledges, we've got to live up to them. Otherwise, as I say, we are defined by that inaction. And that is quite an uneasy thought, but also can be quite a potent driver towards action, which, as a stimulus, isn't entirely a negative thing. And I understand, I myself, when I speak to a lot of people, they say, I know what I want to do, but I just can't quite get to it, right? I can't quite have that action consistently. I think a lot of people, me as well, a great example is New Year's resolutions. We all have dreams and aspirations at the start of the year, and then the majority of these fall flat. And I think, paradoxically, a helpful way to shift action is through your identity, and through words, and believing these words. Because, for example, if I say I'm someone who goes to the gym, which I know is one of my New Year's resolutions, I think it's a lot of people's, but I don't then go to the gym, well, then I'm not someone who goes to the gym. As I say, that inaction defines me more than. But if I really commit to the idea that a core part of who I am is someone who works out and goes to the gym, and I believe that, and I back it up with action to start with, of course, you have to define the intention behind the action and then the action itself, then it's much easier for me to continue in that action than to have an essential crisis of identity through not partaking in that action. Well, of course, that only works if you've actually ingrained the identity, because you fall into the same pitfalls of, well, I'm this today and I'm that tomorrow, and they're not pinned down because you don't believe them. So I think people have to get serious about their identity, and I think it's something I found in myself. Sat down and go, who am I? What are the parts that I identify with? And it was quite a scary kind of experience, because it's like, oh, I don't really think about that stuff. But in order to change action, it's helpful, paradoxically, as a mechanism to start with, to define it as part of your identity, and then, as I say, to live it. Because if you leave it as a definition unfulfilled, that again defines your identity as inaction rather than the positive action you're trying to gender. And it is a very good marker, because we all, as I say, have dreams and aspirations. We all want success, but what is success if you really boil it down? As I said, it's clarity times action. And are we doing those things? And if not, then it gives us a framework to change. And I think that's something, especially when people are stuck in a rut, they think, well, how can I get out of this? But I think if you boil it down to, if you want to go towards success, you have to know what that success is in the clarity, and you have to be taking steps towards it in the action. And if you identify with that, then you have to make that change. It's a really important mirror to hold up to oneself, because, I may be saying it, but am I living it? I may be preaching it, but am I doing it? And I think it's a good way to check yourself and to check your progress, but also to celebrate. Because a lot of times we are doing more than we think we are. And it's quite brilliant because, you know, a lot of times you underappreciate the action that you are taking. And, you know, either way, if you need to take more action or to actually appreciate the action that you are taking, it's an important mirror to hold up to yourself. So I think it's a really important quote to ground your life in. So that's the second quote of the 5-quote series of foundational quotes to underpin your life. Really hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to hearing down below in the comments what people think. So till the next one, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.